Building it brick by brick.
Everybody, so this is Jacqueline Luqman, and I am still in Chicago. I stayed an extra day from the People Summit, after the People Summit, because I wanted to do some fun stuff here in Chicago after all that serious political stuff. And one of the things I wanted to do was to come to see if I could come over to the University of Chicago and visit the School of Economics. Well, here I am. I am actually in the belly of the beast. I am at neoliberal ground zero, and I'm actually directly across from a little museum exhibit inside the University of Chicago School of Economics that is dedicated to honoring Milton Friedman and another economist, Gary Becker. We didn't talk about Gary Becker because Gary Becker is not considered the father of neoliberal economics, but there's actually a museum here at the University of Chicago that honors Milton Friedman. You don't believe me? I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see it. Excuse me, there's the plaque outside of the museum. All right. And it's a small room, but I hope you can see that. And I do have pictures from inside that I'm going to share with you later on. But yeah, it's the Chicago Economics Experience presented by the Becker-Friedman Institute for Research in Economics. And inside this exhibit, there are, quotes from Friedman and this other economist, Becker, and there are all these, fabulous accolades for Friedman's contribution to economics. But you know what's missing from this exhibit? There is no mention whatsoever of the Chicago boys. There is no mention whatsoever of Chile and the neoliberal economic policies that Milton Friedman and his Chicago boys employed in Chile. There's no mention whatsoever of Milton Friedman being the spearheading force behind dismantling Keynesian New Deal policies that not only helped bring this country out of a depression, but also helped create the American middle class. There's no mention of Friedman and his Chicago boys and his economic policies being the impetus for the military coup that ousted Allende in Chile, that installed Pinochet, that ushered in a period of terror, not just militarily and socially, but ushered in a period of economic terrorism and collapse that was enacted upon the people of Chile. There's no mention in this little exhibit among all of the awards of Milton Friedman telling Margaret Thatcher that he thought that she should implement his neoliberal economic policies in the UK. And Thatcher saying, well, I would love to do it, but I can't really do that kind of thing in this country because our government is set up like that. Can't stage a military coup in the UK like you can in Chile, like they did in Chile. There's no mention of Milton Friedman pitching his economic policies to Richard Nixon, and Richard Nixon not only using the CIA to help overthrow Allende in favor of installing Milton Friedman's economic policies, but there's no mention of Richard Nixon saying that he wanted Friedman and his Chicago boys to make Chile's economy scream. understand what's going on here. In an American university, a highly esteemed American university, where young minds come through these doors and sit in these lecture halls and they learn they learn concepts and ideas and ways of thought that go on to influence policy that affect the lives of millions of people, not just in this country, but around the world. There is an entire school that is dedicated to the principles, the economic principles of Milton Friedman, the man who was unashamed in saying that he wanted to get rid of Keynesian New Deal policies that benefited the American people. And in return, he implemented neoliberal policies that benefited big business, corporations, and foreign moneyed interests. The Chicago School of Economics honors that guy. And it is through the Chicago School of Economics that some of the brightest minds and some of the most influential leaders come. So when I was sitting in, the People Summit, and I heard Naomi Klein speak, and she talked about the spell, the neoliberal spell that we were under. When I came over here, I realized what she meant. I realized what she meant. This wasn't done to us like it was done in Chile. It wasn't a military coup. It wasn't all of a sudden. It wasn't someone was elected into office or someone usurped the authority of the person who was in office and took over power and implemented all these policies in one fell swoop. No. It was done using smoke and mirrors. It was done using polite, politically correct words and using a turn of a phrase that didn't mean what we thought it did, but most of us were living in relative comfort, so we didn't pay much attention when those policies, those Friedman-originated neoliberal policies, began to hurt those people who were employed in industries that were deregulated and they lost their jobs. When those Friedman-inspired neoliberal policies began to hurt those people who relied on those publicly funded services that were all of a sudden privatized, and those people couldn't afford those services anymore. We could still afford the services, so it didn't affect us. It was the spell of neoliberalism. It was incremental. It was done pragmatically. There's no military coup. It was done by awarding people like Milton Friedman the Nobel Prize for Economics, saying on the surface that he's one of the greatest minds, the greatest economic minds in modern history, but completely leaving out all of the people his policies have destroyed, all of the lives, all of the countries that his policies have destroyed in the past 40 years. It's putting his name on a school of economics in an American university and extolling him as a hero, teaching his policies to generations after generations after generations of college students and sending them out into the workforce of America, into the state, local, and federal political apparatuses, and out into the world to implement what they've learned at the University of Chicago School of Economics that is named after Gary Becker and Milton Friedman. This neoliberal spell that Naomi Klein talked about just the other day, I would wager that the students who attend this school don't know what you and I know about Friedman and the effect that his policies have had around the world. They believe that he really is this icon of economic science, but the man destroyed the economic apparatus that created the American middle class. And it's because of his policies and what he did in dismantling the New Deal that we were led to believe that the things that we want today, we can't have. We were so close to having universal health care. We were so close to having free college tuition. We were close to having all of these pie in the sky, or so we're told, these pie in the sky ridiculous things. We almost had them with the New Deal. The New Deal contained some of those impossible things, or some aspect of them. But when Milton Friedman convinced politicians to overturn New Deal policies and economic policies with his economic policies, with his market-focused, market-friendly, free the market to do whatever the market does, and everyone who deserves it will be taken care of, that's when our dreams began to die in this country. It wasn't the fault of one particular president. It was done by 4 of them. 6 of them, actually, since Carter. And we didn't have to have tanks rolling down the street like they did in Chile and Argentina and in Russia and in China. No, here they just kept our wages low while corporations made billions of dollars off of deregulation, free trade. At the same time, they're telling us that they have to cut our benefits and lay off workers so that they can prove or show profit growth. And it's very interesting to sit here. It's very interesting, and it's very sad, and it's also incredibly frightening. The fear I feel right now in the pit of my stomach, knowing that the people who are going in and out of this building, walking past me, taking this knowledge in and out of this building, probably don't even know that they're the ones who are going to be used to destroy the world. There is a signboard, an LED board that has a schedule of conferences. Think about this, brick by brick. Think about this. They stage conferences around the world, international conferences, where they teach people the aspects of these disastrous, inhumane, hateful, and evil policies. They package them as being responsible for society and providing a firm footing for business to grow. They market it as being responsible with market access and giving people the freedom to grow and participate in the market however they choose. But history has proven that these policies destroy lives. But these people, these students, these young minds aren't being taught that part of Milton Friedman's history. They're not being taught that part of his policies. And that part of his policies are not being taught at all of these conferences that they're having. So you see, when I attend an event like the People's Summit and I hear people like Naomi Klein talk about the way in which we've all been duped by someone like Milton Friedman, and I come here to the University of Chicago and I see that they have a museum in this place to this man, and he's received medals, he's been honored, he's revered. I absolutely see how the spell of neoliberalism was cast on all of us. I used to feel bad when I was doing the research for this series. I used to feel really bad. I felt really bad that I didn't know these things. I did. And I felt so uninformed and unintelligent, because how could I not know these horrible things happened? How could I not know the names of these terrible people? How could I not know about the destruction they've caused? How could I not know this history? That's actually easy. We were all under a spell of neoliberalism, all of us. And it was done, honestly, still being done by naming a school of economics after a man whose economic policies have destroyed countries. So I'm really fascinated by this LED board over here. So I'm going to try to go over here and show it to you. Oh, I'm trying not to talk really loud because honestly I'm trying not to get kicked out of this joint. So let me see if I can show you what's on this LED board here at the University of Chicago. The conferences that they are sponsoring. These are the conferences that they are sponsoring. They are exporting the economic policies of Milton Friedman throughout the country and around the world. I'm waiting for the title for the first introductory panel to come up so you can see the propaganda. Oh, isn't that ironic? How ironic is that? These policies created Donald Trump. Okay, let's be clear. These policies created the environment that made Donald Trump possible. And they're having a conference on what to do in the age of Trump. Oh, wow, it's a lot more conferences than I thought. I thought the big oil one was the last one. That's inside the museum. Like I said, I have pictures. They're not great because it's dark in there and there's, glare from the lights. But I do have pictures to share with you from inside the museum. title panel should be coming. It better be next. Hi, David. Yeah, this is one of the, okay, yeah, this is one of the title panels. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Kier. There it is. I want you to read that. Here we build on a history of world-changing ideas with research that is producing tomorrow's great economic insights. Government debt, constraints and choices, new investigations of intra and international trade, firm dynamics. You all, this is the propaganda that they have created to not only continue neoliberal policies, but to build on them and to export them around the world, to indoctrinate generation after generation after generation of University of Chicago students who come through the doors of the School of Economics. This is the spell of neoliberalism, ladies and gentlemen. This is it. This is the sleight of hand. This is the hocus pocus. This is the trickery where they celebrate a man and his policies that have destroyed countries and lives, and they call it innovative thinking. Knowledge is power. My question now is, now that we know, what are we going to do with it? I hope to be expounding on that in the days and weeks to come. But right now, I got to get out of here because I got to catch a flight back home. I hope this was enlightening for you. It's frightening for me. It's sad for me. And it should make us all very, very, very concerned about the future of our country. If this doesn't make you want to fight, ready to fight for what is rightfully ours, I don't know what will. So thanks for watching, everybody. Please share this video. Make sure you check on live notifications at the end so you can get notifications when I am live. Go to our YouTube page, subscribe to our YouTube page, and check out our Patreon link, because I would love to upgrade our equipment so I can bring you all kinds of fabulous professional quality stuff for when we take trips like this, and I can bring you this kind of information. This has been an amazing weekend, and go on over to Coffee, Current Events, and Politics and check out the other interviews I did too. Thank you very much, you all. I hope you enjoyed this. Well, enjoy is probably not the right word. I hope it was insightful. It was for me. Peace.
Building a brick by brick.